Welcome to Rescue Chat Unfiltered. I'm Denise Angus, founder of Mattie's Place Rescue, and now the Rescue Chat Unfiltered podcast. I'm here to bring you forward, insightful conversations about hot topics in the rescue community. Are you ready? Let's get the Rescue Chat started unfiltered. All right, well, guys, thanks for being here. I think this has been a long time coming, and here we are, and thanks for doing this. Let's start off just by introducing yourselves a little bit so everyone knows who has the opinions and what they're sharing here.
My name's Hillary, and I'm with Project Paws Dog Rescue.
My name's Sarah. I'm with Traveling Tales Canine Rescue.
My name's Nicole, and I'm with Hanks Haven Rescue Foundation.
My name's Isabel, and I'm with Hounds Rescue Network.
And my name is Denise Angus, and I am the founder of Mattie's Place. So let's warm up with 2024 into 2025, and now we're in 2026. Where have we seen rescue sort of take us? What differences have you guys seen, over the past few years? And I think most of you have been around 7, 8, 9 years now. And, even taking us back to there, what's changing in the world of rescue?
Like everything has changed. Honestly, I feel like everything has changed. I feel like the number of dogs in need is greater than it's ever been. I feel like the amount of puppies that are being displaced or, dumped here, dumped there is out of this world. Like, I can't remember a time in 2018 where so many puppies were in rescue,
And not even just puppies, like purebred, designer breed.
Yes.
Like Merle bulldogs.
Yeah, things that we never even would have dreamed of having, when I started out, all we took was reactive dogs who bit, dogs who didn't like other dogs who didn't like cats, dogs who don't like children. And it didn't matter what the breed was. But now it's like, where do those dogs go?
Yeah, because those dogs now are like competing with puppies and purebred puppies.
That's right. And they're competing with dogs who have nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
Because people are just so quick to dispose of anything that causes them any slight little bit of inconvenience.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a big change.
Yeah.
Because now I'm saying no. Like, I've never said no to a puppy, and now I'm saying no to full litters, because where are we supposed to put them?
Well, and there's no accountability on the the owner surrenders, right?
Yeah.
If we're continually doing that, like, I know myself, like, I'm not touching an owner surrender anymore unless, well, for one, like, are those puppies that we just got, like, are in severe need, neglect, or like they put the work in. Like, why should I be taking your 5-year-old dog when you haven't done any training, you haven't done any socialization, it hasn't been exposed to anything, and now it's causing you an issue?
Well, and I find too, if you try to reiterate that with those owners, you get attitude, you get
A bad review.
shit on, and that's you get a bad review. People don't want to talk to you. They'll have something to say on almost every single one of your posts because now they're on a mission to follow you. And
I thought we were a rescue.
Yeah. But I also find that, like, my biggest thing I say to people when they say, well, I can't keep my dog, and, you ask the reasons why, like, what's going on, what's wrong. And then you say to them, well, have you thought about contacting a trainer? Have you thought about, putting a little bit of extra? And I always try to give them tips. Like, I try to be as constructive as I can be without being judgmental. But it gets to the point where you're like, so I'll give you a situation I had last week. This lady called me. She needed to surrender her dog, and it's her older dog. And she had just gotten another dog a year ago. And I said to her, why is it okay for your dog you've had for 6 years to be surrendered because she doesn't like the new dog you brought in? Why are we giving away the dog that's been there, that's lived there, that's only known you guys, for a new dog that's less work? I'm like, make that make sense to me. If you want me to take your younger dog for you, I will happily do that. I said, but you've put no training in. You've done nothing other than say, he doesn't like this dog, I want him out.
People
and it's just not fair.
That dog that she's trying to surrender to you, that dog that she's trying to surrender to you is 1,000 times the amount of work and resources for that rescue to take in than the younger dog who is the most recent addition.
Yeah. And I don't know about all of you guys, but I don't charge a surrender fee. So if someone needs help, I just take the dog.
Oh, I do.
And I do it because the majority of the time they can't afford a surrender fee anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't enforce it, but if they can donate, I definitely appreciate.
Right.
Yeah,
My
don't
my
enforce
intake
it, but-
form says to, are you willing to pay a surrender fee? I don't have a set for surrender fee.
Yeah.
I've taken most dogs without a surrender fee.
Yeah. And the reason I don't is because I find in my experiences that people will just go straight to dumping.
Yeah.
Like they'll dump it on the side of the road, or they'll dump it with a family member, and then that family member's calling you. So in the end, you end up with the dog anyway, right? So unless I know that like they can financially support that dog and they're just want the easy way out, then I'll say, okay, if you want to make a donation, that's fine. But it's not something that's required. And I find that a lot of people are more open to being honest with me when I don't charge them something, because I'm like, I'll help you, but you got to tell me, it's easy for people to say, here's $300 and lie. And, next thing you know, the dog's ripping your face off, so it's a touchy subject. I know some rescues, like we were talking about earlier with the application and how you have to pay to fill out an application. To me, that is crazy. If someone's already interested in your rescue, there's a reason they're interested. They've been following you. They like what you do. They appreciate your morals. So I just don't feel right about it. I think it's weird. I think it's an easy way to collect money.
And that's paying, because we're kind of changing the topic.
Yeah.
That's paying a application fee,
That's
which
right.
some rescues are doing, to apply to adopt a dog.
Right.
So in order to apply, you're paying an application fee.
Right.
And from what I understand, if you are successful in adoption, then that surrender fee gets deducted from the adoption fee. If you are unsuccessful, the rescue just pockets that application.
Now, do rescues do they do fees for filling out surrender forms? I don't know, because I've never
I don't
done that
think so.
before.
No, I don't think
So
so.
just for their applications, they're doing that?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to apply to adopt a dog, certain rescues, are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a money grab essentially.
And
if you think about it, like a popular dog or like a bully or whatever, how many applications you would get for that dog?
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Back to,
And I think it gives them false hope too. I think
Well, that's terrible, you know,
for sure,
to pay for that and then not get your dog.
Yeah, I can't believe more of the public isn't up in arms about it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people then say, because I know the people that I just found out about, like what we were talking about earlier, like they are like, are all rescues like that? You have to apply to adopt it? Like what? And I'm like, no, like a lot of rescues don't. But
It's a very broad brush that then those who don't, which is most of us, are left to explain
why those others do.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to answer that for them.
And 90% of the people who are making that assumption are not going to ask you. They're just going to assume.
Assume.
And you belong.
So back to where we were with, and we can touch back on this because this is important to talk about, back from 24, 25 into 26. So we're seeing just a plethora of puppies.
Yeah.
We're seeing people give up on dogs so easily and wanting to surrender.
But I think it started. Sorry, I just lost my ADHD. So I'm gonna take it back here.
Yeah.
I think it started during COVID, and a lot of us saw that what the fallout was going to be. Where rescues were like, they were importing or like getting dogs at such an alarming rate because they couldn't keep up with the demand. Whereas like the rest
There
of us
were
were saying that.
rescues spending $100,000 to rent private planes, bringing them back from Mexico and all of these places full of
Few hundred something.
There were dogs on those planes. I took one.
Like 200 and something dogs. Like,
Hey,
crazy.
The beginning of COVID, I think everybody in the circle can speak to the
Demand.
spike of applications that we saw because everybody was working from home. Everyone's like, great, I have the time to be home, taking care of a puppy or told themselves they were going to do everything right to bring a dog home. And we all saw the backswing of that.
Yeah.
When I got a couple
years
years down the road, right? And everybody went back to work and nobody trained their dogs and nobody socialized their dogs. And then we got all of the my dog actually needs to be in an only dog home and can't be with my new puppy and isn't trained. And I don't know why now when I take it to the park, it barks and lunges at everyone because you've had a dog inside your house for
They're called
years during COVID.
Now.
Yeah.
I called them COVID puppies.
So I was a little bit different in that situation. I didn't adopt out to families unless they work.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you
Yeah.
were start every day,
I didn't pretend it. Yeah.
I wasn't adopting because I knew,
Yeah.
like, I've had my own dogs. I know what it's like to work a full day shift and come home and they're out of their mind because, they're anxious and or they're bored and they need out and they need this and they need that. So that's all I could think about. And all I could think about was, I don't want to be getting phone call after phone call after phone call 3 years from now because these dogs have been given and provided nothing than being home all the time and always being with them and never leaving them, taking them everywhere. So luckily for us in that sense, we were kind of smart enough at that time to be like, wait a second.
I think a lot of us
Crazy, and that's just something that we stuck by for those 2 years is like, if one of you is at least not working full time, it's not going to work.
I was thankful.
Or
that
what happens when that was my question. What happens when this is over? Where are you going back to the office? Are you still going to be at home? Like, are you traveling for work? Like, are you going back to work, period? Like, that's one of the questions we asked.
Well, I think the biggest concern was so many people were working from home that wasn't the norm, and now it's kind of developed into, that being the norm. But I've also noticed that lately, more people that were home are now being forced to go back. Those in-home positions are no longer available. Yeah, they're freezing them out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of calls from people like, oh, my dog's got anxiety and I'm back to work and what am I going to do? And I'm like,
Crate train.
exactly. And we'll have to touch on that definitely because that's a big one for me as well too.
COVID for me was good because we took so many behavioral dogs that because there were just no dogs available, it allowed for a lot of my behavioral dogs that were adoptable. By today's standards would not be. Doe is one of them that we just euthanized a couple days ago. But so many of my really behavioral dogs that in the right hands and are proving that they're living a great life got adopted because people were willing to take the chance, willing to do the training, willing to put the time in.
And I think you're right because back in 2018, when we were going through like our normal rescue of reactive dogs, people wanted to be there. Like they wanted that mastiff that didn't like other dogs. They wanted that extra large bully that couldn't be around children and they were fine with it. But finding those homes now is like a needle in a haystack. Everybody has a cat. Everybody has an additional dog. There's always something that prevents those dogs that need that extra safety net that they just don't have it. And then that's when we're getting to the point where like, when do you say yes and when do you say no? When these dogs are in your email and their surrender forms and, you're like, do I intake them? Do I not intake them? Like,
so let's touch on how we can help owners because the reality is, and everybody in here knows, but I think a lot of the public, because I see on my socials, people are like, what? Shelter dogs are being euthanized?
yeah.
So let's help people that have dogs that they want to surrender. First of all, we're not magical. We don't have a magic wand. We do exactly what an owner would have to do. We find training. I use Nicole for a lot of board and train dogs. We pay for board and train. We, put the work in. We have to do all the things that an owner would have to do. So what are some examples if somebody cannot find a place for their dog to go? No rescue will take it. No shelter will take it. And let's remember that shelters are euthanizing dogs in Ontario.
That's right.
There are shelters that every week euthanize, typically on a Friday, to make room for.
And we're not talking 1, 2, 3 dogs.
Many dogs.
We're talking.
So dogs are. People can. And even shelters can try and say, it doesn't happen. Let's not talk about it. It happens every week, every day in Ontario shelters. Our healthy dogs are being euthanized. Our adoptable dogs are being euthanized for space. That's a reality, especially municipal shelters. So if you can't find a shelter and you can't find a rescue, because we are all full, rescues are full and at capacity. So what help can we lend to owners so they're not dumping their dogs, which we're seeing at an alarming rate? So let's not dump dogs or tie them up places. How can we help them to maintain until space can be found, or what can they do to help their dog?
So I can give you an example. I had a woman call me about 2 months ago and she had a border collie and the border collie was hurting her daughter. And I said, do you know anything about your dog? Do you know anything about your dog's breed? Do you know what makes them tick? Do you know what sort of job they're supposed to have? And she was like, no. She knew nothing. So I said, let's have a chat. And I had a chat. I broke down the border collie, what they do, what they need, how they thrive, how they hurt. I said, he doesn't want to hurt your daughter. I'm like, but he doesn't have a job. I'm like, so he's frustrated and he sees her run. And the first thing he thinks of, it's instinctual.
I got to do my job.
I got to do my job.
Yeah.
And
Which is hurting. He's nipping and hurting.
Exactly. So I gave her a couple of pointers. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I gave her a couple of pointers and she ended up calling me back a month later crying. And she was like, I can't thank you enough for just those simple things that I never would have thought of. Because a lot of people look at the dog and they're like, he's so cute. He's got blue eyes. He's got gray skin.
Especially when they're a puppy.
Especially when they're a puppy, right? And then you get caught up in that moment of the cuteness and then you actually forget long term what it is that these dogs need. And you can't just pop a border collie into a small townhome and then wonder why he's acting out. Like you have to prepare for the end game, the long run, you know? And she was happy, but not every situation is easy like that when you're trying to help. Sometimes I'm lost to even say, I don't know what to tell you. You've been to a trainer, you've been to the vet, you've done the blood work, you've done everything that you can think of, everything that I would do, and you've got 3 bites. Like,
So I am probably a little bit lucky this way in the sense that I have like a training background to fall back on, but I do the same thing. I will like ask them or ask what kind of like outlet their dogs get or what kind of exercise they're getting to break up their day or whatever. It's usually nothing, right? So, but I also, before I intake ever, I go and assess the dog. And it's usually in that moment that I can say, you know what, like, yeah, this dog is not safe in your home. And if there's nowhere for it to go, I'm very honest in the sense that, especially if it has a bite history. Like,
oh yeah, I'm not
like
scared to be like, you need to make that.
You need to euthanize your dog. And nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do it. I don't want to do it ever. I cry every single time. But the reality is our shelters and rescues are so full and there's far worse things than euthanizing your dog. And the shelter or the rescues or shelters that are going to intake that dog with the 3 bite history or whatever are the ones that are not going to do that dog justice, and it's just going to rot or get kennel stress and live a way far worse life. You know, like what's so awful about the dog that you've loved for the last 5-6 years or whatever, like eating a bucket of ice cream and going to sleep, right? And I find a lot of owners, first of all, don't want to do that, obviously. But if they're if they've done everything that they could possibly do and there's still no options, like they appreciate that someone was honest enough instead of being like, you know what, let's try and find this very dangerous dog, like a place to go, right? Instead of passing the buck.
Like sometimes it can be human error, and it's not always the dog. You know, if the dog's in the wrong environment, there's a good chance that dog's going to react. So I can't always say, okay, you've had 3 bites, you've done this, you've done that, you've done this. I can't say euthanize your dog. And I've never said to someone, euthanize your dog. I've said it might be your only option, but I've never one time said to someone, you need to go take your dog and put it down.
No.
Because
That's
I
not
can't
our
make
call.
that call.
No.
I don't know your dog. I haven't assessed your dog. But all I can do is tell you, if you've been to a trainer, what kind of trainer have you gone to? What kind of exercises did they have you do? Do they know your dog? Do they know the breed? Because there's a lot of people out there that call themselves trainers that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. You know, so it's like you just have to be very careful, I find, when it's a situation, because they're already sensitive to the fact that they might have to get rid of their dog. Yeah. They don't want to give it to someone that's just going to take it and euthanize it. But I don't want to give false hope and say, I'm going to take your dog and I'm going to rehab him and he's going to be amazing and I'm going to place him in a home. Because what if I can't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are rescues that will say that.
Yes.
And then they rot in a crate until they die.
This is the reality check piece that so many rescues are pussyfooting around, frankly, that I think we need to talk about. Maybe I'm jumping ahead in the agenda a little bit here, but like there are so many dogs right now in our rescue system, shelter system, who frankly, like maybe 5 years ago, maybe pre-COVID, there would have been the like unicorn home with no cats, no kids, no dogs, like all of that.
Yeah.
And we could have said to those people struggling with their dogs, like, no worries. And if you can't put this in, I can find someone who will.
Yeah.
I was a lot more confident saying that to people who came to me in distress, needing an alternative solution for their dog, 5 years ago than I am now. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
cannot look anybody in the face who has a dog who's been biting, lunging, jumping, like whatever the case may be. If you have a dog and you're listening to me, all of these issues that you have actually put in a decent effort and you've done your due diligence and you've hired a trainer and you've put in the work and your dog has outlets and that dog is environmentally stressed out and is not going to do well in your home, period. I can't promise you that I can find a home right now on the timeline that you need it done by that can give your dog a safe home. And in that case, Nicole is absolutely correct. That is not the worst outcome for your dog. To be with you by your side, like, and keep your dog. Don't send your dog to be euthanized by someone that they don't know in a cold room alone, terrified. Like, that is a terrible outcome.
I just had that with a dog that was imported, not through my rescue, through another rescue from Iran, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and literally just was from the airport into the adopter's car, left. They never contacted. There was no contact between the adopter and the rescue again. The dog was adopted to a senior at the time, a puppy, and has had nothing but behavioral issues the last 4 years. And they reached out to me to intake, which I considered. I just felt really bad for this woman. The sending rescue, the original rescue, of course, took to social media. And
Of course.
don't let this dog go to Mattie's place. Like, somebody take this dog.
Yeah, she's just gonna kill him.
Please, like, stop Denise in her tracks. Sadly, the rescue, then said, well, I'll help you. And it was taking months and months and months had passed. And the owner, last I heard, euthanized her dog. She just, and I said to her, I support the decision. Like, this dog is going to go in circles. The rescue isn't taking the dog back. It's going to cause too many waves if I take the dog. I don't want to put that pressure on you. If you are comfortable with that decision, I support that decision. Euthanize him. He is a struggling dog. He's going to be hard to adopt. And give him his peace.
And I think, like, to kind of like answer your question about like what owners can do, I think owners, if they reached out to responsible ethical rescues like us, that we have the knowledge or resources to say, like, have you tried this? No.
So what did they try?
This.
So what do we try first? We go to a vet appointment and get some blood work done, make sure there's no pain and discomfort that's causing dentals. There's all sorts of things that can cause dogs to be reactive. What other suggestions do you guys have for an owner that can't keep their dog and has nowhere for the dog to go until a resolve can be found if they're not going to euthanize?
Yeah, like, have you reached out to a trainer, right? Like, a lot of trainers will help you manage the situation, right? Until something better, like until an option can come up. And the biggest thing I think I would tell owners is don't wait until the day before, right? Don't message us and say,
the deadlines have got us that.
Yeah, because like a lot of us are here because we do have bleeding hearts, right? And it puts a ton of stress on us. It puts a ton of stress on our fosters when we're like, guys, we have, because they too have bleeding hearts, right? Like, we only have till this day to save this dog. And chances are we're not going to be able to now. Like, we're not going to be able to find you a last minute spot for your reactive dog. Or your dog that's super sick or whatever it is, right? Like, there needs to be a plan, and I know stuff happens, like life happens, but there needs to be
feel like, unfortunately, it's come to the point where rescue can't be their last plan.
Anymore. Exactly.
Like, it used to be last resort was us, and we did it, and we took the dog and we rehabbed the dog, or we did whatever we had to do, but it's just gotten so bad for overpopulation, whether it's our Manitoba dogs coming in, whether it's importing, whether it's backyard breeding. It's just non-stop every day. Like,
we have too many dogs,
too many
nowhere for them to go in Ontario.
I don't even know what to say to families when they reach out to me anymore. I'm like, I really wish I knew what to tell you. I'm like, I can give you a list of rescues that I trust that may or may not be able to help you. I'm like, but at this point,
I can't even get I've got 2 dogs I've had for over 4 years, and they're not that bad. They're not that bad. They're adoptable. And I can't get them adopted.
No,
I would not take
I'd
a
have to.
adoptive dog at this point.
No.
I just wouldn't take it because it's just going to sit
Mhm.
in my care for years because it's not going to get adopted.
I've honestly been telling people who are trying to surrender or return dogs that have had, no issues with you for the past 2 years being adopted. Nicole and I are working with someone right now who's in this situation. No issues that have been bad enough to report to me until suddenly overnight it's bad enough that you want to surrender your dog. That one kills me because it's like,
This was one of your dogs adopted. and is now
if
being
you come to me anytime over the last 2 years with anything other than, oh, we're great, everything's fabulous, here's a picture of my dog in their Christmas sweater in front of the Christmas tree, and said, we're actually struggling with X, Y, or Z, or I'm trying to move in with my partner and kids, and I want to make sure that transition happens well, and like my dog's struggling. Like, if you'd come to me at any point, we could have so worked together. And like my questions about like, what training have we done? Who are you working with? What's working? What's not? Have you been to the vet? All of those things would have been a lot less urgent. Now we're here. Like, what do we do? To Janice's question.
But that's 90% of them.
Yeah.
That's 90%.
Yeah.
of
And
them.
like,
So
what
these
do
are
we
the-
do with these dogs? Honestly, I've told this person, you have to wait until I can send a trainer
Yeah.
to assess your dog and see what we're working with, because right now I've got feedback from you that's all over the map. Like, you're telling me one thing, another thing. Who knows what's going on? So like, let's see what we're working with, and like, I'll try to figure this out for you. But you need to understand that you have to keep your dog with you in your house until that can be figured out. And that might be months or years. Yeah. Like, it literally might be months or years unless you want to take the step yourself to euthanize your dog.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
Or work with the
that's,
trainer,
that's it. Like, that's straight
They're
up
not-
it.
I do find
They're not going to
though
work with it.
that a lot of
No.
rescues use that as an excuse when they don't want to take back that harder to place dog. They'll be like, we don't have the space. We don't have the room.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more of that.
Like, I think that is such bullshit. I don't care if you've had your dog for 5 years. If you call me and your dog is in a position that it needs to come back, I'm taking my dog back. I don't care if it's bit 5 children. I don't care what it's done. If it was my dog to begin with and you don't want it, then it's going to come back and it's going to die with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's going to be loved and it's going to feel loved and it's going to get what it needs. I can't ever imagine saying, like, I've done knees, I've done eyes, I've done everything years after I've adopted out.
Yeah.
Because I know that family doesn't have $6,000 to spend on, whatever the problem might be. And I just feel like if you are rescue and you take a dog, the care goes on forever.
But this is the bleeding heart piece. This is the bleeding heart piece and the emotional blackmail piece, right?
It's not.
Because that's passing a problem. Now,
Well,
passing a dog to someone else. And what if that dog goes to that person and ends up in a worse situation?
If that's the
What if they fight a child and it was your dog?
It's not my dog anymore.
But it is your dog. It doesn't matter. You
If I
took ownership of that dog when that dog came in.
I passed it
and
off
you
to
passed
somebody
it off,
else.
right, but
it's somebody else's dog. Now it's their property, not
No,
mine.
it doesn't matter.
If
You
it
wouldn't
were
do that.
mine-
You wouldn't do that if it was like your car. Would you give it away and then that person ruined it and then now you don't?
No,
have
no,
that?
it's hard. Like
It doesn't matter.
If this were,
I don't agree.
I am right between the
this
two of you on this
my
issue. So this is
dog,
fine.
then I would have pet insurance on it.
Yeah.
I would have it.
Insurance isn't going to cover if you're.
I would have it
killing
in
people.
training. So imagine you adopt out a little puppy, okay? And the deal is, hey, you guys have to go through X amount of training. You have to follow the rules that are in my contract in order for me to take that dog back. And they do none of it. And they seem like great adopters because this happens all the time. They sign
Anyway,
nothing. And
that's
then,
also.
but let me finish. Let me
They
finish.
don't have a trainer's brain. They don't
No,
have
no.
a rescuer's brain.
It's not about, no, because that dog, then you take it back and there's nowhere to place it.
doesn't matter. Then
There's nowhere to
euthanize it.
That should be
That's
your
your
family.
So
Here it is. Their accountability.
If they don't want him and they want you to take him and they want to be the one to
No.
euthanize him, then you owe that
No.
to your dog to be like, you know what,
No.
Yadi, I got you.
I think
I got
we-
you
I think
until
we
the
would
day
all-
you're gone. I got you.
I think we would all do that, but I think there also needs to be a level of
There's a line.
Yes.
There has to be responsibility.
Accountability. But in the end, if your dog is standing there with nobody backing him,
Yeah, I
are
think
you all say, sorry, figure it out?
no. I think there
There
would
was nobody backing him. I would tell the family, hey, you know what? You need to euthanize this dog, or you need to do the
But
training.
what if they don't want to? What if they don't want to do the training and they don't want to do the euthanasia? Are you going to
Nobody wants to
Oh,
do
well.
it, but it's part of the responsibility of owning a dog.
I have taken a dog. This was a few years ago, and I tell all of my adopters, during telephone interviews, during the adoption process, on adoption day, meet and greet, and I repeat it on repeat.
Yeah.
I am adopting a sweet, gentle, kind, loving puppy to you. This is for puppies, not adult dogs. This is for puppies. Do not come back to me in 2 or 3 years with a reactive, wild, biting, problematic, stressed out, anxiety-filled dog that you've not put an ounce of training into and expect me to fix your problem. Because my answer to you is going to be, take your dog in and euthanize it. You have my support to do that because you fucked up. You fucked up on this dog. And that's a you problem, not a me problem. To Sarah's point, if they said, no, I'm not euthanizing the dog, and I have done it, I will take the dog.
That's a very...
Because that's what I'm trying to say, though, is that there are those people. I've had them.
But then you take the dog and you euthanize it because there's no, at the end of the day, you have to accept responsibility.
Right. But I do think that the owners do have to take responsibility, because if we continuously let people dump dogs on us, they're not going to stop. And that happens so often, where they think they can just, do nothing. And then last minute, I've had so many owner surrenders that are, come pick up this dog now.
Yes.
And this is not fair.
This is emotional blackmail. This is why people burn out.
Yeah. You've rehabilitated, you've worked with them.
Surrenders.
I'm not talking about puppies. I'm talking about a dog, whether you've got it from Manitoba, from here, from there. It does not matter where the dog came from. If the dog was in your care, you had it for a long time, you knew that this dog, A, couldn't be with dogs, B, couldn't be with kids, this, that, or the other. If that dog goes to this home, and 3 years later they call me and they say, listen, shit's gone awry, we can't figure it out, we've tried a trainer, we've tried this, we tried that, we love him so much, there's got to be something else can be done, I do not want to euthanize. I'm not going to turn my back on that dog.
That's very different.
I'm not going to say
talking about every case is different, and I'm not going to allow somebody to email me and say, come pick up this dog right
emotional
now.
blackmail. That is the piece for me.
It's emotional blackmail to me. To me, it's just being responsible.
No, I didn't.
She can't let at some point your adopters take advantage of you.
But there's a difference between letting them take advantage of you and standing beside a dog that you chose to put into that home specifically. So you need to take accountability for putting them in a home that didn't do right by them. Period.
Right. And I think we all would, but I think
it's not possible though.
But I think what Hillary's trying to say is like I know for myself, over between 24 and 2025, we had to revamp our contract because I had an astounding amount of surrenders from like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like dogs coming back that
because they're COVID dogs.
Yeah. But no, they weren't COVID dogs. Like they were like probably just before COVID. But they're coming back from for instance, one of my guys, his family died, right? And he didn't leave any instructions for his, for whatever.
Right.
But he came back really sick. So we had to euthanize him. But other dogs coming back years later from a divorce or whatever, right? And it's at what point, those dogs aren't cute little puppies anymore, right? So at what
that
point?
Shouldn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, we have to at least have that conversation with our adopters to say, listen, we're now 6 years post. You didn't do X, Y, Z.
Yep.
I need to see that you'll do X, Y, Z, and then
I guess my point is they've done all of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
but they don't want to euthanize.
Yeah, but so then I have a very, and honestly, I've never had this be an issue. I have a real
resources than the average person has.
I think the cases that Sarah is talking about are very few and far between. I think that the cases where people are like, I have literally checked all of the boxes on the contract that I signed. I have done right by my dog. I've done right by you, the rescue that put this dog in my care. You did right by the dog adopting them to me. It's not. None of that is the problem. I just don't want to euthanize my dog. I think that's a very different situation.
I don't get those. I get vast majority where people haven't done anything.
And you've handled those recently. You've had a couple where you said you have to
coming back
and
he was one
extended their. They'd gone beyond their means for their dog. They've tried the training.
I don't get those.
And I don't get them right
now.
He's 2 years old. He's a bully. They took him when he was a little baby. And now he's attacking. He's attacking the other dogs. They've had multiple emergency visits. They've tried trainer after trainer after trainer. They've tried muzzle training. They've tried everything that they could. And they're like, at their wits' end, but they love him.
Yeah.
They love him more than anything in the world. And there's no way ever that I would say to them, find another place for him. I know he's a complicated dog.
I know hearing that's different.
Of course there's a place for him. There's tons of places for him. You just have to put the work and the time in to find it.
He's also a bulldog.
Not
He's not
every dog.
a husky, a northern husky like you're dealing with. And that makes a difference.
Well, mine's a bully. I have Appleton, who
Yeah,
is
she's got
a bully hound mix. And he's a fine. He'll be fine. He's not unadoptable. And then I have Leilani, who is the husky mix. I've had her 4 years.
So
What am I supposed to do?
Like Hill's not saying that she's not taking the dog's back. Like, you think, yeah.
No.
But I'm just saying
you don't take
for
them.
puppies, I'll be cautious. I am not going to allow somebody else to throw their mess back on me that I'm probably not going to be able to do
Okay,
anything
so
about.
Hillary, let's talk about, because those are good examples. Leilani, you got from another rescue that closed. You've had her for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
She's a problem dog.
She can in the wrong home.
She's with a trainer. She's doing amazing. And you and I have discussed, like, where do you go from here? And euthanasia has been a discussion, because this dog can't stay forever with the trainer.
I would be wrong to euthanize her.
You would not be
No,
wrong
of
to
course
euthanize her.
No. I don't
You've
think so
tried
either.
for 4 years,
but
but you did get some backlash when that became a public conversation, which shouldn't have,
What about
about euthanizing this dog.
Right? It always, and that's the problem, is like, you're always going to have those people that are going to toss in their opinions about things, but they're not living it. They don't know what you've done. They don't know what you're dealing with in that situation.
I just had to change.org petition started against me for my recent behavior euthanasia for Scarlett. Like, some random person.
Yeah, it
Started that petition is not ready to come and pick up Scarlett and give her a home.
You know who you refer? You know who she
That's
referred?
the biggest thing.
None of the people signing that petition are ready to come and pick up Scarlett and give them a home, or any of the other bitey dogs.
No. Yeah. And this is the thing what happened with Leilani. Like, everybody, all of a sudden, everybody comes out of the woodworks. Oh, you're wrong.
Save
the
them.
dog. I know this dog. She's a good dog. Yes, she's a good dog 90% of the time. But the other 10%, you can't trust her.
No.
And in the right home, she's going to do fantastic. She can't be around other dogs. And here she is 4 years later, 3 years, 2 years later, and nobody's there. Like, where are the people that wanted me to save her? Where are they now?
And I think that bridges that conversation of, like,
But I need to do all the work.
That's right.
So how, and this is one of the things we talked about, how long is too long in rescue? And, I'll start with Deboa, who's been with me for 2.5 years. He was not with me, with Amber, and she's a trainer. She has all the protocols in place. He's a dog that has killed multiple dogs, Chow Chow, and also bit humans. He was non-problematic in our rescue. He was just a great boy. But he was with somebody highly experienced, somebody that knew how to crate and rotate and manage and all of the things which the general public doesn't typically do.
Yeah.
He was with me for 2.5 years. He had some severe neurological deficits. He just turned 12 years old February 1st, the day before we euthanized. So he's an old Chow Chow.
Yeah.
Could I have put $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 into him and ran all the tests and did all the things? And he had some eye stuff and chronic ear stuff that we've been managing for years. I could have. I chose to euthanize him because he was neurologically unsound. Could he have bounced back? Absolutely. I get condemned a lot for spending $10,000 and $15,000 and $20,000 on a dog. I hear all the time, not from a lot of people, but I hear all the time on those posts, think about how many dogs that could save.
Yeah.
I'm a medical rescue. I have no problem with spending $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 on a dog. I'm also a realist, and Deboa has proven to be an unadoptable dog in society.
Yeah.
He was loved. He was cared for. He felt home. And I opted to euthanize over fighting for his life. And I'm sure I'll get, some flack for that. But
this is where you have to. Like,
it was the right thing to do. And I will not regret the decision ever. And a day early is better than a day late. So he was euthanized and put at peace. But how long is too long? And what does the public expect us to do? Genuine question. And I posted last year on my socials. general public. What do you want us to do as rescues?
Yeah.
Give me the answer, because I don't have the answers.
Yeah.
How long is too long for a dog to stay in rescue with a foster or in boarding where we're spending money, or a foster that wants to get on with life? They didn't plan on fostering for years.
The difference that I found. So when we first started, we had the kennel, right? So a lot of the dogs were reactive. They didn't like each other. They didn't like anything, really. But what I find is Frankie. We had Frankie for 3.5 years. And the whole 3.5 years in rescue, in the kennel, he was great. No bites, no lunging, nothing. Natalie came down, worked with him a bunch. Like, he was an amazing dog. From the situation he came from, his owner passed away in front of him. He was worked up. They ended up tasing him, Frankie, throwing him in a crate, taking him to the shelter. And I said, okay, bring him down. And yeah, he was work. He was work for 3.5 years. And I knew in my heart that he wasn't adoptable, but I got fought with it. I got fought on with Natalie. I got fought with my rescue partner, with our volunteers, that they were like, he'll be fine. And I said, he's not going to be fine. And sure enough, put him into his home. He didn't have a single bite in 3.5 years. And he bit 3 times in his new home.
Yep.
And I said, this is why he wasn't supposed to leave. This is why I said he wasn't ready. I remember calling Brian and crying and being like, I just don't feel like this is right. Like, I don't feel like this dog should be leaving. But they wanted to push it, and look what happened. 3 more people injured, and then boom, Frankie is gone.
So how long is too long? At what point do we say enough?
I think it's a loaded
dog
question.
by dog.
Yeah, I think it's a loaded question, because when you have, like, I have a long stay resident, she's just a mutt that has like a bum back leg, super sweet, but nobody's interested in her, right? But she's happy and content at her foster home, right? And she could probably go to anyone if need be, if like that foster decided she didn't want to foster anymore. And I've had her for years now. But then I have Scarlett, for instance, who I only had for 4 months. But I think what the general public needs to realize is, like, for myself anyways, and I know for most reputable and ethical rescues, like, when that decision comes to euthanize, like, it's not just like you wake up one day and like there's conversations. Like, I talk to other professionals, I talk to our vet team, and I even have like a behavior euthanasia checklist, right? Like it has to be checked all the way through in order for me to be like.
And let's not forget how many times you're telling yourself that it's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that
it doesn't
you're
happen
making the
in
right
minutes.
decision and that you're doing right by the dog, because nobody wants to euthanize. No rescue, loves to throw the euthanasia card out there, at least not the reputable ones. That's not the way we fix our problems.
No.
But
You can get into rescue for dogs to die or animals to die.
But
Right? Like,
dogs are going to die. And I feel like that is the
can't save
biggest
them all.
misconception in rescue, is that let's save them all. Let's bring in 28 puppies at one time. Let's bring in a truckload of 80 dogs from the north. Let's bring in 100 dogs from the States. Like, it is out of control what rescues are doing right now.
mm-hmm.
There is no reason for a rescue to have 80 dogs in their care. I don't care if you have 7 litters of puppies. Like, there is absolutely no reason for it. Those are quick adoptions. That's money in, money out.
Regional
You're dog
rescue.
flipping. You're not doing your due diligence. Your puppies have no vaccines. They're going here, there, everywhere. And then they're getting sick, and then they're crying like, you don't want to help. No, because you made a bad call, and it's happening everywhere now. And it's not even just the parvo thing. Dogs are just sick. They're sick with whatever's coming in from the States or...
So we can wrap up the train of thought on how long is too long. At what point do we say, you know what, we have to euthanize this dog?
How much money is going into this dog?
Yeah.
Is it adoptable? There's just so many factors. I think if it's putting a lot of strain on your rescue, if it's putting a lot of strain on your fosters, and you're comfortable adopting a dog because it's a risk, every dog is going to be different, but I think it depends on the resources that we have available to us as well as,
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, none of us are operate. I know that sometimes we like to think that we are alone in this, but like, I've leaned on everybody in this circle at some point when I have been in a situation where I'm like, you know what? I haven't been doing this for as long as a lot of really, really smart ladies here. Like, I need some help. I have a decision to make. I don't know what to do. I've called Denise before in tears and been like, I have spent $10,000 on. Everybody's cried to Denise.
They're crying.
I've been in situations where I've been like, I don't know what to do with this dog. I've spent $10,000 on board and train. He's been with 2 different trainers. The first one thought he was ready to leave. He had 2 meet and greets in the presence of that trainer and bit those people in the presence of the trainer, moved him to another trainer, spent another $10K.
Oh, no.
The dog's still not adoptable. It's a year later. I have people blowing up my Facebook because they're so invested in this dog story, and we posted him, trying to get him the unicorn home that he needs. That unicorn home doesn't exist. We're waiting for months on end about it. And like, I called Denise sobbing and was like, what do I do with this dog? Everybody in rescue is going to hate me. This was like, I was 2 years in and like very new still. And like, I was literally afraid of being shunned by everybody. And Denise said, you are absolutely allowed to euthanize that dog and you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's all that I needed was just like one other person to tell me, like, you have done your due diligence. It is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay.
Yep.
And I think that we need to be able to, in rescue, talk to each other
and be honest
be honest and also give ourselves the grace to not eat every decision like that and have it keep us up at night. Like we can't
or like people hold it in and don't ask because they're afraid they're going to be shunned.
Yes.
It's like, no, like these are real
But I
conversations.
also feel like you need to have a tight group of people that rescue the same as you, that have the same values as you, that understand what you're going through in order to get a reaction that's meaningful. Yeah. Because a lot of people will just talk out of their ass, you know, just to either A, make you feel bad, B, act like they know more than you do, you know. And I feel like there's a lot of rescues out there that are waiting for people to fail.
Just thinking, literally waiting.
They're waiting for you to fail. So you have to have those people that you trust that you can lean on. Like, first time I reached out to Denise was probably 9 years ago, like a year after we had started. And I said, I have this dog and he's sick and I don't know what to do and I just need some help. And I had messaged her. I had messaged 2 other big rescues and they completely ignored me. They read my message and basically just shut the window and that was it. And I thought, okay, she was the only one that was like, what's going on? Send me the labs and I'll tell you what I think. Yeah. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have known that he needed to go in and have his urine checked and that he had crystals and that he had to be on special food. And, you know, like nobody was willing to help me. They were just basically waiting for me to fall on my face. And she was the only one that was there to be like, yeah, of course. What do you need? What can I help you with? That's how it's supposed to be when you're coming to somebody for help. Yeah. It shouldn't be like, well, figure it out. The rest of us have to. Like, I am more than willing to help out anybody and give advice. But if I'm helping you and giving you advice and you make a really stupid call that I just don't agree with, I'm going to tell you. Like, I think that was a bad idea. And if you're friends with someone and you trust that person, you should be able to hear the good and the bad, you know? But I do feel within rescue, it's a big catty game of who's going to fall next.
Okay, so that brings us into a really valid point where there are all sorts of different rescues right now. There are all sorts of different protocols right now. I'm starting to see more and more where spays and neuters aren't included and, you know, we'll give you $200 back if you prove in a year you've done a spay or neuter. There's just so many things that are starting to become acceptable in the
that
rescue
were never
world
even thought of
that
years
would
ago.
Never.
No.
So
under the guise, what you're talking about, the spays and neuters, it's under the guise that, well, there's not like our vetting is now like there's less vets and there's less vet appointments. So there's nothing we can do if we want to save these animals. And it's like,
that's not.
I have had to drive all over the province to get like a spay or neuter, right? Yeah. Like you just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
tying it together. Yeah. I've always been open to helping and mentoring and I'm there for whoever. I've had fallouts and those people have reached out to me. Didn't speak to her for 4 years and she messaged for help and I'll always help. That said, there are rescues out there that are cutting corners and just blatantly doing things that we look at and go, wait a minute. Yeah. You're so unethical in everything that you do.
Yeah.
I can't open my inbox to that. And, I've had some of those rescues say, you should be mentoring me. You should be helping me. And it's a hard no. I'm not associating with the things that you're doing. I'm not going to mentor you or guide you or offer an opinion or be there for you. And yeah, I'm kind of watching for you to fall on your face.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first person to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because you are not an ethical rescue on any level.
That's right.
At all.
Yeah.
And there's more and more of that coming into the rescue
Because
scene.
people are waking up going, I'm going to start a rescue.
Right. There are more unethical rescues than there are ethical rescues right now in this landscape.
Yeah.
And, we can look back at For Lucky Paws, which is a great example. And I just don't think it got enough play.
Yeah, I agree.
But 54.
And they dropped the ball. Like that, I think that case was a perfect case for Paws and our just system in general to make a really good precedent for animal welfare in this province.
Yeah.
And there was like over 50 dead puppies in a
So just to bring people that aren't familiar up to speed, so they were a rescue in Peterborough. They were bringing puppies in from the northern Manitoba. Somewhere along the line, whether they came in or whatever the case may be, some of the puppies got parvo.
Mm-hmm.
The puppies were going into garages of the founder. So her home and her garage was full of parvo starting somewhere. And then puppies were dying. She did not have the money to get the puppies the medical support that they need. And I've had some parvo puppies, and you're looking at $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 per puppy, and they should be hospitalized immediately. You can't cure it, but you can give them the puppy's support to get through parvo.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. They did not have those funds and had no way to raise it or no credit cards or backup.
And nobody knew about it either, right?
Nobody knew about it other than their foster circle.
When you should be asking for help. Those are the situations.
So puppies were dying and going into freezers, and they were just bringing in more puppies who in turn were dying and going into freezers. They continued to bring in more puppies who just kept getting the parvo that was in the foster homes and in the homes.
Like, did they not?
Oh, she knew. She knew.
Yeah, she knew.
She knew. I'm sorry, but you can't be.
Well, there's Mattie. We saw the Mattie.
Yeah,
She knew.
She knew.
So and she didn't care. I mean, a lot of them were laughing about it and things. She did, the general public, Danielle Roberts was a loud voice for this situation. Finally got provincial animal welfare involved. Everyone got involved. It wasn't easy. But there was enough public outcry that she was charged.
Mm-hmm.
She did get convicted. One of the other fosters also pled guilty and received some fines. I believe Caitlin got a $50,000 fine. This all just happened a few months ago. Ban on owning dogs other than her current dogs. She has probation and some different things. But parvo's a really big deal. And we're seeing another rescue that this is happening with right now, where they are bringing in lots of puppies, parvo's showing up, puppies that are adoptable are suddenly disappearing.
Yeah.
We presume, and it's assumption only, that puppies are dying.
Adopters aren't.
Adopters
we're finding out about.
Yeah, we're finding out now because adopters are coming forward where they're adopting a puppy 3-4 days later.
And what a
puppy has
horrible
parvo
experience for those families. You know what I mean? Like, I want nothing but my adopters to have such a good experience. I want them to want to talk to me. I want them to want to stay in communication with me. I don't ever want them to be like, you left me with this and like without a care in the world. Like, I came to you because I respected what you were doing, and I've been following you, and I like the work that you do, and then you leave me with an $8,000, 7, 8, whatever it was, $1,000.
So this rescue, the puppy got sick. The rescue is ghosted the adopter.
Yeah,
the puppy has parvo, is now discharged from the hospital. The adopters had to pay a $7,000.
It was between like $7,000 and $9,000.
Yeah, and then now other adopters from that rescue are saying, "Oh, our puppy had parvo too, and our puppy had parvo too."
Yeah.
So it's
the same puppies from the same rescue are out in the community doing community.
They're at Wren's and they're
This litter was
stores.
born in care.
Yeah.
This litter was born in care. So that
rescue.
means that we have foster homes that have just like everything contaminated.
Yeah.
Every dog that comes into that space until it's been
And
appropriately
for a rescue to act like it's not that big of a deal. It's just
deleting
mind-blowing
comments,
Yeah.
like not answering questions.
the lack of transparency is so terrifying because people don't realize like how rapidly this spreads like wildfire when there is no communication between the parties who adopted those dogs. Those dogs have been at bare minimum exposed to their siblings who had parvo and are now out there going to the dog park or like whatever.
When someone gets a new dog, they take them everywhere. They're like, I want to take
Even
it
if
to this
it's
a corgi puppy.
I'm going to, like I always tell my fosters, they've had one shot so far. I do not want them out of that house.
No.
Yeah,
I don't want them.
backyard.
I don't want them anywhere until
Paws don't touch the ground.
paws don't touch the ground. And I don't know how many times I've had to reiterate that because I've seen a picture and I've been like,
So let's talk
because I've
about
lived through parvo and it's the worst. It was the worst thing ever. Like I literally had a dog die in my arms.
Yeah, it's awful.
The puppies that Natalie sent in, I ended up with 3 of them. And it was like this, like literally like this. She was like, my one has parvo. Mine were all up, eating, playing, drinking. The next day, my female's dead I picked her up and she was dead. And I was just like an emotional mess. And for those 2 weeks of fighting and fighting for Cooper, it was, I don't even know how I got through it. And I never want to deal with it again. And I can't imagine doing that to someone who has no idea about the sickness, how to handle it, how to treat it, what to do, how to like. There was times where I looked at him with full fluids in his arms and being like, I don't know if I can help you. So imagine a family who has no resources, isn't hearing back from the rescue. They have a puppy that they wanted to love forever, and they have no choice now other than to pay for it or to let it go. And you're not paying $100, $200, $1,000, $2,000. You're paying thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple of things. One, every dog coming home should have pet insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Every dog.
Yeah.
We offer a Trupanion promo. Every dog adopted through Mattie's Place, day one on adoption day, goes home with immediate coverage.
Yeah, same with
That is so important. Everyone has got to get on this program. Everyone has to advocate for pet insurance.
Yeah.
Everyone, whether you're bringing a dog home from a rescue or you're buying a dog, get insurance day one.
Mm-hmm.
Day one. It's before you do anything, get the pet insurance in place.
Yeah.
2, let's talk about the things that we have, and I don't know your parvo protocols, but I think people need to be educated on it because there's a wide sweeping parvo outbreak now in Ontario and right across Canada. So for Mattie's Place, like we had a parvo puppy. My foster cannot have another puppy into their home for 1 year. They can't foster for me for a year.
Yeah.
They can have an adult dog in 6 months from the time Pop-Tart left them, as long as it's fully vaccinated. And they have, we've done all the cleaning protocols, everything's been in place. But it's not normal to just take on continuous parvo puppies in your home because you're going to spread it even in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the protocols that you guys have in place so that the general public understands what parvo is and what it means and what we should be doing to protect the rest of the dogs that are being adopted and bought in homes?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's just, if it depends on if your parvo puppies are in foster, like mine were with me. So I didn't have to worry about, explaining the whole situation. But when it came time to them leaving, like I kept them with me 6 or 8 weeks after they were medically cleared. And I just told their owners, like, I still want you to be careful. Yes, they're fully vaccinated now, but I don't want them at the park. I don't want them at the pet store. I don't want them, I don't want them anywhere where they're going to put anybody at risk because yes, they may be fine, but they may still be carrying a touch of it, But I think I'm a control freak. So for me, they're always going to be with me. If they're sick, they're going to be with me. Like, I just don't think I would put that into a foster.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would trust it enough. And that's probably just my own mind getting in the way,
Yeah, because I am the same way in the sense, like, I'll even get those shoe covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that like anytime I'm in that air, like the puppy,
Yeah, I swear.
yeah, and then everything just goes in the garbage.
Yeah.
And then same thing, like nothing, no puppies for a year.
Yeah.
That's why it's been a long time since I've had, because I am terrified of parvo, because that means I won't be able to foster for a long time. Yeah, I won't be able to take another dog in.
And rescue shouldn't be taking in, like, it's a red flag to take in 10 or 15 or 20 puppies.
You and I talk about this
all the time. Like, we never have from a litter more, they get separated into other rescues.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to have more puppies than I can afford to treat for parvo. I always look at it. So you'll never see me taking more
I've
than
actually
2
had
puppies.
rescues like make fun of me and be like, why do you always split up your litters? I'm like, because why do I need 14 mastiffs?
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
So if something comes up, I know that Denise is going to take care of her too. I know that so-and-so is going to take care of their too. Like, I don't need to worry about it. You know, I'm not coming down with, and maybe not even parvo. It could be anything, upper respiratory. It could be whatever. 12 sick puppies.
This goes
or
back to the
12
responsible
puppies.
rescue piece, right? Like,
Yes.
if you have more dogs in your care than you can afford to handle a crisis, if all of those dogs comes down with one at the same time, like, we've all been there, and it feels like shit because you're really, really scared that, like, if anybody breaks with something terrible, I am going to be in the weeds. Like, I can't think of the last time that I willingly took a puppy into my rescue because I'm terrified of parvo. I'm a very small rescue. I have a very small number of foster homes. I do a lot of this independently. I do a very small amount of fundraising. And if I get a parvo puppy into my care, one parvo puppy into my care right now, and it costs me $10,000, that is it. Like, I would be like shuddering for life. I think there's no education about how deadly and rapidly spreading, to your point, Sarah, parvo is. Like, I worked for a time in a Humane Society facility that is a very large shelter. And when they had parvo in their shelter, it looks like something out of a sci-fi, like the gowns, the hairnets, the booties, that, like, everything. You look like a hazmat team. The people who handled those dogs on that shift go in and out of that room only for the whole day.
And it's like that
those
at
are the
your
only animals that they handle. Like, it is a serious risk to any dog coming in and out of that area. Like, it's microscopic feces tracked onto paws
And
that
it can
touch a
stay
tile. It lasts
Like,
forever.
a lot of iris, all the elements. It survives through the snow, the rain. It does not matter.
That's why I was
feel like there's a misconception. People are like, oh, parvo, it's probably like a springtime thing. You know, the weather warms up. And I'm like, actually, the fluctuations of cold to hot to cold to hot
freeze this into place
is what's always waking it up and bringing it back out again. And then people are like, well, my dog had one vaccine. Like, when they go to surrender, my dog had a parvo vaccine when they were 8 weeks old, just one. And I'm like shuddering at the thought of like just being so careless. Well, I couldn't afford it. It's a $50 shot, or do you want a $8,000 bill?
So, Hillary, you and I disagree on this, so let's talk about it. I am always of the mindset that if you cannot afford a serious illness in your rescue, if you don't have a credit card, a financial backer, or the means to fundraise, there are rescues that need to fundraise. I get that. As long as you have the means and know you can fundraise. I don't think you should be in rescue. I don't think you should be responsible for pet lives if you don't have finances to support it. And there are a lot of rescues that don't. They just don't have any money.
And that's where the transfer comes in.
Hold on. So Hillary disagrees with me on that. And I understand your point.
I don't disagree that we should be financially responsible for every dog we bring into our care. But I think one of the differences, you run a medical rescue. So for you, your dogs that come into care are going to need, they're at TBH. They're at Emerge. They're not. You're not doing just spays, neuters, but
or blockage surgery,
or just So for you, you think like 50,000 is where you need to. I mean, I just think that number
does $20,000 available to you.
I think 20,000 is a great number, to have available to you, but not per dog that you bring in. Like it just wouldn't be.
No, it's just having that safety net of, do you have your own person? Like, 'cause I don't know how. Like, right now at my vet, it's not linked to anything other than my personal credit card. So every time I get dinged, every vaccine, everything, it's like ding, 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 ding. And I see my Visa going up and up and up and up. But you have to have that, because if your dog is in a car accident and it's with the foster, gets hit by a car, what are you doing?
But to Hillary's point that she said to me when we had this discussion was, But Denise, if these people aren't doing rescue, their lives that they are saving. They're bringing a dog in, they're vaccinating, they're spaying, they're neutering, and the dog is going home. So a life has been saved. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
No. I remember the conversation, and I feel like it also takes pressure off of other rescues when you have smaller rescues coming in and maybe taking care of some of the easier cases. But you know, a lot of the newer rescues coming in, which I didn't know because I don't talk to any other rescues very often, but you told me they weren't spaying and neutering. They're not doing, you know, what I assumed that they were doing. So it's probably a different opinion now, but I don't think that you need to have 20,000 per puppy or per dog that you.
no, but I think you need to have access however you get it.
For sure.
However you get it
Mm-hmm.
to $20,000. I think if you do not have access to $20,000 by whatever means, you shouldn't be in rescue.
Well, and it's even the easiest dog can end up costing you thousands of dollars. That dog
sure.
can come in walking on all fours, healthy as a horse.
Yeah.
And then, 2 weeks later, liver failure, kidney failure. The dog has a heart murmur. It's going, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that can happen and do happen to even the most healthy looking or healthy, I guess, if you've taken it to the vet already. I'm just saying anything can happen at any point.
Totally.
And a lot of rescues don't have that money to fall back on. And then they're scurrying and they need help. And I get that. But if you're going to take a dog, you have to be able to back that dog until the very end.
100%.
While it's in your care.
I mean, yes, but I just don't know if at all times every rescue is going to have that amount of money. I mean, there's been times I'll blow through money so fast and then I'm like, and I have these dogs in care and I'm on pins and needles. Like, what am I going to do if something happens? Obviously there's personal credit card, but, other than that, I don't want to.
Let's be totally clear. Like,
Oh,
I
please,
don't think that, and maybe I'm completely wrong here. I don't think that there's any rescue, maybe with the exception of Denise, that is sitting with like $20,000 of funds in their rescue account right now. I think we're talking like,
Yeah, but
if I have the means somewhere to, if a dog tomorrow
Yes.
landed in the vet's office and was like, this dog's going to be here for the next 3 weeks, you're looking at a $20,000 bill at the end of those 3 weeks. Get ready. You've got to have some way of making that bill settled.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that we're all going to have $20,000 in a checking account, but like,
But you should still
there are
have
rescues,
something available.
but there are
if you need
rescues
it.
out here who are, again, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that they can start a rescue tomorrow and take in a couple of like easy dogs, or like, I'll take a couple puppies and get them vaccinated, spayed, neutered, and out the door tomorrow. And like, it rarely goes that way. And there's always going to be something that's going to make that, I had to spend $250 to get this dog turned around. That's going to make that, add a couple zeros.
Yeah.
So, and we're all going to, everybody's experience, like, oh, I thought I banked on this being an easy dog. And now they came in and they're at the vet and like, oh my God, I am scrambling. Like we've all been there. And again, like who you have in your circle and who you have able to be like, I can cross post that dog for you. I can help you fundraise. Like, let's do an event together. That matters so much in those moments. Like, you got to have, the financial backing, but like your people backing.
But
you too, right?
I do agree with you in the sense that a lot of rescues will end up with an emergency and they're like, we have nothing.
Yeah.
We have nothing.
And we
There
can't
should
fundraise,
never
we can't
be
do
a
anything, or we're
nothing.
going to euthanize.
There should never be nothing.
Yeah.
You should never have nothing.
Yeah.
Because look at what's going on now with this parvo situation. Like, she has nothing. And now all of these dogs are going to die if these owners and adopters aren't putting the thousands of dollars into these dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the time that's why dogs get euthanized, because rescues don't have the funds.
Exactly. But it's
You know?
affordable to have that many. I mean, they have a lot of puppies, like all puppies.
It's unaffordable.
I don't know.
Regardless of the age, though. I
When
find
you're
the
pulling
older
all
your
these
dog gets,
puppies-
the more expensive they get.
Yeah.
And I think that's where insurance comes in, because even if you think about these parvo puppies, like had they been adopted, say from our rescues where they go home the day of and the deductible's $250 for that first month,
That would have been great.
right?
Insurance would be
They would
But in the
covered.
but in the same breath,
Yeah.
I had just before we got that program, we had the other True Premium program where they had to take the dog to the vet like first, and then it got activated that day. But I had a dog that had a blockage 3 weeks after adoption. She never read any of the paperwork. thought that we covered the insurance, and yeah, they had to pay $4,000 out of pocket because they didn't activate insurance.
Yeah, everyone. The moral of the story is get insurance. I can't
Yeah.
speak on it loud enough.
I don't know. I just feel like a safety net is definitely necessary. I've learned that myself, like over the years, you know, like I started out in China. Like that's where my rescue began. Like all I did was
you imported.
I definitely wasn't there.
We're talking a dog meat trade dogs.
She lives in China,
But I started
Like, how cool.
my rescue started out strictly dealing with the China dogs.
yeah.
So
Mine was in Georgia.
you know that they're coming sick. They're coming sick. They're coming with bad teeth. They're coming with, you know, not every illness is the same in every country. So just because the dog comes in and it's vaccinated up to their standards, that's not good enough for me. So I'm vaccinating again. And a lot of people may not like that, but I want to know that my dogs are safe and protected from the stuff here, not only the stuff there. I forget where I was going with this point.
Hillary and I, 5, 6 years ago, maybe, I received an email from somebody looking for antibiotics because there was a rescue in Bracebridge, sick dogs, and they had just imported.
Don't we, Nicole?
They had just imported all these dogs from China. Again, they had them in their garage.
Said rescue China dogs because they weren't doing right by them.
They had them all in their garage. They all had kennel cough.
It wasn't
which
even a garage. It was a
makeshift
makeshift
structure.
like
No, it's canine influenza.
It was kennel cough. The dogs I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it was kennel cough. So some of them had died on the flight over.
Mhm.
Instead of taking all these dogs to the vet, they just didn't have the funds. So they were trying to beg, borrow, and steal medications and do what they could from their garage or structure. So we ended up, I spoke to the rescue founder and I said, let us take your dogs because they're going to die otherwise. We ended up going, Hillary and I, with a U-Haul. And it was a little madness because they didn't want to release them because we had a U-Haul. But I said, it's the only thing we can transport, 25 dogs in short notice. And they're going straight to the vet. So they went to our vet. They all went on antibiotics. It was kennel cough. But multiple dogs had died in this rescue's care on the flight and while there.
Yeah.
Because
we went missing 2 or 3. In the end, after we had counted all the dogs, we had a specific number we were supposed to pick up. And then we were missing like at least 2 or 3 after we'd picked everyone up. I don't know if they had held them back. I believe they died. I don't.
And she's still operating. She's still operating and still getting
donations.
She's still a mess.
Yeah. So yeah,
I've been warning about that one since mine.
But this is the fact that
I met Nicole the first time.
But it was just kennel cough,
See,
so
I had scarier because what year was that?
I had an experience with them, and it was
6 years ago, just
they
before
were out
COVID.
over what was it? Remember? Wasn't upper respiratory. It was the dog flu.
Canine influenza.
Yeah, they brought over the dog flu.
Yeah.
And that's when I was rescuing with this specific rescue, volunteering, and like I had to go to the college. They had the doctor come, swab all my dogs, swab all of her dogs. All of mine came back negative, but 2 of hers tested positive. And she didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. And she was still importing. And she's still running her rescue now. And it's still a piece of shit. She's still a piece of shit. She just dropped a dog on actually, I don't want to bring it up because this rescue took this dog and they don't want the dog to get back to her. So I don't want to bring up their name. But another dog that they imported in. So it went from China to California to BC to Ontario so that they could get the dog into the country, right?
Because nobody will work with you here.
We're talking teeth rotting. Like this is a senior dog. And I mean rotting out of her face. Lumps, bumps, tumors everywhere. Picked up, payment paid, that's it, out the door. Not a single word from her since that went on. So then this rescue
What are you saying? The dog came in and was adopted?
right away. Picked it up from the airport. Off you go. Bingo, bango. And not a word from them since.
But that's an importing thing.
And when I used to confront her about this, when I was fostering for her, she would tell me, it's none of your fucking business what money China gives me and where that money goes. And I'm watching her go on vacations and watching her flying her friends in from China and watching her do all of these leisurely activities. And I'm getting the brunt of it from people like, why are my dog's teeth rotting out of their face? Why is my dog sick? And there's just, she doesn't care, and she's still operating, and she's bringing them in by the hundreds, and no one's saying anything.
Yeah, that was a big load.
We say I've said tons of
I know. I mean, like, but her followers and stuff, like, how are you guys still following?
My rescue is named after a dog she killed. Like it's the things that she has done to animals is
Okay, so let's talk about this, because I get condemned by the public and mostly the rescue world about talking about things that are happening in rescue. And, you know, I don't think I often call out rescues directly because I try to be somewhat diplomatic from an educational standpoint. I get told I'm bullying people all the time when I talk about what other rescues are doing that I see is just so unethical and super problematic. There's a conversation that gets had in rescue that the world needs to be kumbaya in rescue, and we should uplift,
doing our best,
and we're doing our best, and we should empower, and we should help each other, and we shouldn't talk about things that go on behind the scenes. We should just help each other and stay quiet. And if you speak out, you're a bully. You know,
like,
where
we are helping, like we are helping each other, right? Like I call you, I'm like, I can't take all these, I intake all these puppies. We help each other. And that's what people need to realize is like, there are rescues that are helping each other and lift each other up and support each other. But at the same time, those rescues now speak out against something like bringing in sick dogs, not following protocols, not supporting your fosters and adopters. And then all of a sudden now we're bullies.
Yeah, so circling us back to like the 4 lucky paws and, you know, the problems that we see, there's a lot that we see behind the scenes in rescue that doesn't get spoken about. I try and speak about it when I can to educate the public on things to watch for and to hold rescues accountable for the poor decision making. And we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But if we're not learning from them, then we're problematic.
That's right.
So, you know, fosters need to be empowered. Like the fosters with 4 lucky paws, it's mind-boggling to me that they didn't sound the alarm, but they were so worried about being bullied. And
what would happen to the dog.
And what would happen to the dogs.
Yeah.
And, you know.
But how do they sound the, what do they do? What are they doing?
But they need to contact other rescues. They need to post on social media. They need, like, we all need to feel empowered to talk about it.
Like you said before, a lot of other you did. A lot of, you've asked for help in other rescues, which just not even opened your emails. Because I just went through this with the cat that wasn't even mine. And I contacted several people. I could have contacted you sooner, and I should have. But, I mean, it wasn't until I contacted you that I got some help. So just coming from that side of it, being a foster, which...
But talk about the things that you sort of had to go through for that cat.
Well, I mean, I contacted Paws twice, and I ended up hanging up on them. It was the call center. I didn't have I didn't have a direct contact.
And Hillary was fostering a cat for another rescue that was vomiting and had diarrhea and was sick for a month on and off.
And
the rescue wasn't doing it.
Were pretty consistent. You know, at that point, it was like, yeah, there's something serious going on. I knew I couldn't take it to the vet. If I did, I would have to lie and say it's my cat. I contacted Paws. I emailed the SPCA. And in turn, the SPCA went back and told the rescue. And mind you, I use this SPCA for space and neuter. So we've got it 10-year relationship, something along those lines, you know. But they went back and told the rescue, the cat rescue, about my emails and my concerns. I wanted just somewhere to maybe drop them off, take them to the vet.
Cool.
And there, I spoke to a few other rescues. And nobody wants to get involved. That was really what it is. Nobody wants to get involved because they may know this other rescue. Yeah.
I love rock.
Or maybe they don't believe
Rocking the
how
boat is
sick
like
this animal is. I don't know what it was, but I mean, everything came to a head. And then And the only reason this cat got any care is because I got really angry at the end, and the final 2 weeks I was still pretty, I think I was adamant that she needed to either pick up the cat or take it to the vet, but I wasn't. I could have been maybe more forceful, because at that point I was still like, oh, and then it was like the last maybe 48 hours.
And I feel
yeah.
that's really what it's come down to in rescue, is like you have to stand up for yourself. You have to have a loud voice.
But there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do. You are literally with your hands tied if that cat doesn't belong to me.
Yeah.
So they won't come pick it up. I mean, is there a point of abandonment? Is there a point of abandonment if I were to send her I don't know, something, and say, hey, come pick up your cat, and you don't? I don't know.
So ultimately, the cat, you went to all authorities shut you down.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the cat ended up needing $16,000 in surgery. The rescue did surrender the cat to you.
Yes,
in the end,
thankfully. When they saw a bill for like $800 bill, I was like, this is what it's going to cost just to figure it out, and yeah, that's when they saw.
So, one, fosters need to feel empowered to keep talking about it. And had you have talked about it more openly, you probably would have gotten more support, I believe, or reached out to other rescues. And I know you did, but you have to keep reaching out.
If you had reached out to me, I would have had your back. I would have gone to bat for you.
You have to.
I think more rescues need to use that discussion group so that we can support each other. So you go in there and you're like, I am it's a private group. Only rescues and shelters are in there.
No, but you know what? It's just
We try to make it that way, but there are always, and we've all seen this happen in that group, there will always be
There's always the
sneaky folk who are going to take screenshots and share that and make everybody's
and it's like, and I was worried about that at that point, because I had already been into it with the cat rescue person. Right.
But
so it wasn't about that. I just wanted to know, how can I legally get this cat the help that it needs at this point?
Right.
That was my biggest concern. And, my vet clinic knew that this was a foster cat. So I couldn't go in there and
see, I think you have to be, I would. I think when it comes to animal welfare, because our legislation and our laws are not up to par with what we think or what we know they should be, I think it is up to us. I will always do what's right I have always said I will always do what's right, maybe not necessarily what's legal.
Yeah.
So, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't.
If I had to take the animal in, I would have said it's mine. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. I've gone to a foster house before and they tried to slam the door in my face trying to steal a dog, and I put my foot in the door.
But this is us in rescue. I hate that this is where we are at, that fosters have to feel like they are between a rock and a hard place if they've gotten into a situation where they've started fostering for, unbeknownst to them, subpar rescue. They only figure that out at the point that the rescue is ghosting them when they've got vet bills.
Yeah.
And they're like, I am a person with a bleeding heart who started fostering because I want to help animals. Yeah. And now I'm in a position where when I go and do the right thing and speak up and try to get somebody else to take accountability for this cat, dog, whatever, I am going to be receiving hate mail, keyboard warriors, whatever the case may be. It's terrible that, yes, we can take that, and I think we have thicker skin, but there are fosters who literally just sign up to foster a dog or cat because they want to do a good thing.
Yeah.
And they are being I've seen it online, fosters being like, hey, does anybody, honestly asking for help from anybody else who will step in.
I get messages
where
all
a
the
rescue
time.
has stepped
All the
out,
time.
and they just get immediately the court of public opinion rakes them over the coals, does not know the context or situation, and that foster who's trying to do the right thing is the bad guy.
And I hope that maybe this conversation gets out to the general public and people understand, if you're fostering for a subpar rescue, if your foster coordinator or founder of rescue, whatever, has not reached out to you in months about that dog.
Yeah, that's
you
weird.
haven't seen that dog posted. You're paying for food, vet bills.
Yeah.
That is not right.
Yeah.
And reach out to one of us or just put your story out there. You might get from the rescue, obviously. They're not going to, but there is enough support from the rest of us that we can.
And I do find you're right in the aspect of supplies. I find a lot of fosters, I see it online all the time, Even if they'll apply to foster for me, they'll say, oh, I used to sponsor or foster for so-and-so. Do you provide anything? Because I had to pay for food. I had to buy the crate. I had to buy
But nothing.
And that blows my mind. Like when my dogs go home, they have like a Christmas bag.
Yeah.
They've got treats, bowls, leash, harness,
Yeah.
like whatever, pajamas, sweatshirts, like whatever I have, I will put in there to make it easier for that foster.
Yeah.
If you need pee pads, tell me. I'll bring them to you.
Yeah.
I'll Amazon them to you.
Yeah.
Like,
So the message being, if there's a lot of shady rescues out there right now, and there's a lot of rescues that are doing what they shouldn't be doing, and there are a lot of fosters getting caught in the crossfires.
I would never bring another animal in my home that I cannot vet personally.
Yeah.
And if I were fostering for another rescue, if I had it to do over again, I would definitely have made sure I got a second contact, because I'm working with just one person.
Yeah.
And having a second contact would have been really helpful, I think. And I had the one contact.
So the general public, fosters need to know that they are not alone. There are 5 rescues right here that if you have a parvo puppy, if you have a sick dog, an injured dog, and your rescue isn't helping, we're here to help. And if we can't help, we can direct you
somewhere.
Or behavioral, right? Like I've ran into recently, like just hearing about other fosters for another rescue, like mostly bullies, that are, the dogs should not be in the foster homes that they are. But then when the fosters are like, I need the dog moved, it's not safe, it's like, oh, we have nowhere for it to go.
Yeah.
Like that is not normal. Like,
well, let's also talk about sanctuaries who don't take their dogs back.
Yeah.
How are you a sanctuary, but you're not taking your dog back?
Yeah.
Like, make that make sense to me.
Or just a lot of the rescues that have, it's also the norm that, dogs are coming into rescue, and the rescues have these dogs piled in their garage or piled in old barns with roofs caving in. One of those barns, tragically, there was a fire in it, and 5 dogs lost their lives last week. Dogs are being taken into rescue, but not being put in safe spaces.
Well, yeah, we've got rescues who don't even have their own homes, who are driving around living out of their vehicles.
Hey, this goes back to the bullying. I'm going to bring up the bullying thing again.
Well, I don't know why you're all shocked sitting here like y'all don't.
No, this is real. This is a real thing that is occurring. This is what I'm saying. Like, if we are bullies for stating that this is a fact, that these things are happening.
In Ugoya rescue is
I guess we're name dropping.
homeless.
She's been homeless for a while.
Okay,
She still can't.
so what are we to do? What are we to do?
So listen,
when we see this happen and we're calling it out and saying, this is not a good way to operate your rescues.
But I've called it out.
And then I'm a bully, and then it's like, okay, so I'm a bully and this person has dogs in a van.
well, and that's the thing too.
But they're a rescue, so
from
they're
what
doing
I'm
well.
told.
So
But you're doing your best, and you one time got a puppy adopted, so
Listen.
we're...
I'm just going to say it. I know she's probably going to hate me and block me after I say it. It is what it is. But if you are on your Facebook page asking for rent, asking for gas money, asking for fucking gas to go get coffee, asking for money for...
Close your rescue.
Just shut down. Because all of us are already watching you. We know that you have 14 dogs. We know that you have 15 rescues. We know that you don't have a place to live. You have a $300,000 GoFundMe page up for a new
sanctuary
property sanctuary. Like, get your shit together. Get your shit together, because if you can't afford gas money, you can't afford if one of these dogs is getting sick.
You're not doing the dogs any favor.
Nothing. And I don't care if I sound like an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't care if she is going to hear this and be like, oh my God. I don't care. It's gotten to the point now where it is so unbelievably ridiculous and embarrassing. You're embarrassing me. I don't want to be lumped into a category with you.
Yes.
It's
the
embarrassing.
sad thing is that she 4 years ago surrendered all of her dogs because of the
neglect.
They were very an animal welfare situation.
A couple of them died.
Some of them died. A rescue did make a very large post about it. But
like,
the public just forgot.
Like, we just keep quiet. And I see it every day, and I'm like, when do you say something? And even when you do, it's like, you guys hate me. You guys don't know what it's like to be me. You haven't been through what I've been through. Rescue
this
is rescue. It has nothing to do with your
Even
personal
rescues
life.
that have had Toronto Sun full page exposés on how awful they are still running.
Yes. Good Dog Niagara.
Thousands.
Shit the bed. Kicking those dogs. I posted the video. I get a text message yesterday from someone else. Good Dog Niagara. I can't get a hold of them. They won't give me my vetting for my dog. And I said, good luck to you, my friend.
There's a 3 or 4 part expose of articles in the Toronto Star from a few years ago about a rescue that is still notoriously running and pumping in dogs from the States by the busload on
And
a regular
still
basis.
problematic. And people then, and I get emails all the time about them. And I always say to them, you need to look into your I don't feel sorry for you
Do
that
your
you're
research.
Yeah, you got to research.
And that's
the thing.
part of the
Adopt.
the post that I put up yesterday was like, you guys need to do better at picking who you want to work with.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to type a rescue's name into a search bar.
Yeah.
If something shitty has happened, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
Because it's not just going to be from them. It's going to be from all of us who've experienced it or who've interacted with the situation.
Well, I just had, and I sent it to Denise, like we had somebody email us from the States and said, I was going to send a dog to so-and-so, but I searched their
I know who
name.
you're talking about.
And I'm like, you better not send that dog here. And right. And then Denise got involved too. And it's like, we need the general public to start doing that too. Right. Like,
Adopters, researcher rescues, but also sending rescues. Research the rescues that are taking your dogs in.
Oh my gosh.
This could be another, this could be maybe another separate podcast in and of itself, but there is just as much of a problem on the sending end because there are, and like, I don't know what to tell these groups either because this is a horrible position to be in, but there are frontline rescues in the north, in the States, like that are drowning in dogs that they have nowhere to send them to. Anywhere is better than like frozen to death in some of their minds, right? And I get that, and I feel that pain so much, but you have to understand that some of these rescues are so desperate to get their dogs into any placement here that they will send them to places that are keeping their dogs in barns, that are keeping their dogs in garages, that are putting their dogs into foster homes that just had parvo, that are unvaccinated. And like these dogs are suffering and dying equivalently horrible deaths as they would if they were left to suffer.
I mean, listen, dogs are going to get sick. It is what it is, but the way that it's happening lately has just been pure carelessness.
Exactly. If your dog gets sick because it gets sick, that's one thing. But if your dog, puppy, litters of puppies are now getting sick over and over and over again, plus it's spreading to the community, that's a rescue problem, right? That's not you doing your due diligence or making sure that you followed all the right protocols. Like that's just
And I think the biggest misconception in rescue is if you can't afford something, intake more dogs. Intake more puppies. Intake.
Yeah.
And you see it. They're like, oh, I've got a $12,000 dog. And next thing you know, in comes 14 puppies. Yeah. And that's not, you can't run rescue by adoptions purely. Like you just can't.
I don't understand how those rescues even do it because I don't think now we're in a climate where it is even puppies are getting adopted, right? Like it's no longer, we just need a couch for your dog, our dogs to crash on. Like we need a couch for our dogs to crash on. Plus we need to work on puppy or potty training and crate training and basic training and socialization, like all these things, right?
Yeah.
To get our dogs ready for adoption.
And there's so many people that want to be that person, right? That want to be that puppy foster.
Yeah.
I have 5 really good puppy fosters that I work with and I've worked with for years. Other than that, I get applications all the time. I want to foster that puppy. I want to foster that puppy. I want to foster that puppy. I don't know you. I know my team. I know how diligent they'll be. I know that they'll be careful. Yeah. I know that they're going to do what I tell them to do.
Yeah.
New people, it just makes me nervous.
I know.
Because they don't have that education. They don't know the risks of taking your dog here, there, and everywhere.
Or they tap out. I think the hardest thing with rescue is when fosters tap out and they're like, we need this dog picked up right now.
Always like,
and it's always right now.
Right. And it creates such a domino effect.
That dog I had a couple weeks ago, the black bully that I had, was in the foster home for 7 days. And they said he's starting to chase the cats. He had a crate. The cats had a crate. They had everything they needed, long leash, everything. And I said, just crate him. He loves his crate. Like, crate him until I can figure it out. She's like, okay, I'll give you until the end of the week. No problem. The next day, I get a message like, I'm going to drop him off at the SPCA.
Oh.
And I was like, go ahead. They're just going to tell you to call Sarah anyway. Like it's, what do you think you're doing?
And that's a misconception too, right? Now, I mean, that does lead
And
to
this
dogs
is a
being
dog
tied up.
walker, a Toronto dog walker, telling me that she's going to drop my dog off at the shelter.
Yeah, that's just like a threat, right? And yeah, dogs do get tied to things, but that is a huge misconception. I hear it all the time too. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to drop it off at the SPCA. Like, they are no different than we are.
And they're not going to take, you can't just walk into a shelter and drop your
Whose
dog.
dog is this? Sarah's from Traveling Tales. Sarah, your dog's here?
Yeah,
Like, what do you
exactly.
think is going to happen? You think they're going to put my dog to sleep? Like, is this a threat?
Yeah.
You know, but you do get those people. They think they know what they're doing. They get in a situation and then they get all, you know, like the dog wasn't trying to kill your cats. He was chasing them. All you had to do was put him away.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the end of the world, but they make the smallest things seem far greater than they are.
Inconvenient for
Exactly.
them. And
But
yeah.
huge kudos to and we all have our fosters that are diehards that we know we can put a dog or cat with, and we know it's non-problematic.
Yeah.
I get so much joy
Oh my gosh.
from those
that's
fosters that they got it and they're always there.
Pictures. You don't even have
Yeah.
to ask for updates. It's like, it's just there. And you know it's there. Like,
Yeah.
I already know when I look at a dog whose home it's going into.
Yeah.
Because I know them so well that I know that, you know, Trish might look at this one dog and be like, oh my God. Whereas Agnes might look at it and be like, you know, not for me. But I trust them with every ounce of everything that I have.
Exactly.
Because I know they love them as much as I love them. And they want what I want for them.
Yeah.
So big thanks to those fosters that
Thank you
that
so
really
much.
make it easier for us.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it without that.
No.
We can't.
They're our
So-
literal backbone.
Yeah.
We've only got about 20 minutes left, and I think there's a,
15.
the hot top. Well, we started, I think, 5 minutes late, right, producer Dean? He's on his clock.
It was my key break. Sorry.
Okay. So these.
So yeah, there's, I guess the biggest hot topic right now in rescue is the association that's been started 6-7 years ago. Myself and Hillary and Larissa from Team Dog Rescue actually sat with the Don Cherry Foundation about putting something in place. The thing that the three of us were most adamant about, which is why we pulled the Don Cherry Foundation in at the time, was that, we can certainly lead things in a direction and set a ground frame of it.
Yeah.
But rescues can't be involved. Rescues can't dictate to rescues. Rescues can't govern rescues. Rescues can't be in charge of anything that
It's too messy.
we're so
not
political
advised.
and so messy.
Yeah.
COVID ended up coming into play and it kind of fell apart. I was excited when this association, they started talking about it a few years ago. I sent them all of our notes from our groundwork. And, I gave them what we kind of dug through. We were looking at having, I think it was called PJAC. They're a large pet company that was actually going to run with it. They were going to, rescues would be PJAC affiliated by following certain ethics and standards, and had nothing to do with rescues though. We now have this group of rescues that have decided, and they're out of the gate. They don't know what their mandate is. Some of them are saying they're governing. Some statements say they're not governing. They're part of their ethics are they're running investigations on rescues, but they're saying they're not. Like, it's just
I just don't
all
know
over
why
the
they
place.
And at the end of the
publicly
day, it's a
answer any
membership.
of our questions.
People pay a
Publicly.
fee to become a member.
Okay, hold on. So let's start. So Hillary kind of opened the floodgates and posted in one of our rescue groups. What was it that you posted?
I had some questions. I can't remember the questions. There were some valid questions. And no one from the association
Could answer them.
jumped on and even respond. No one even responded. That to me,
So there are a lot of people applauding this, and I give them kudos from where they're coming from.
Yeah, because
But
I
I
just
stand-
feel like they want to, like they're coming into this with their hearts and wanting to do the right thing, but it's just such a
Rescues can't be in charge on any level, have any authority over rescues.
That's right.
We
Because
need
you're
an
gonna have
outside. We're all
You're
too connected.
cliquey.
Yeah.
It's cliquey for one thing. not every rescue operates the same. Not every rescue has the same rules, the same, everybody operates differently. So from the people that I've talked to that are within this association, they say, it's a place for everyone to come and get opinions and get help and mentorship. And I said, but it's also a place for people to complain. They're going to complain about the rescue that
they're going to start a hotline for
You know how they mentored me? When I was going through this whole thing with Karma, I got
the $16,000 cat.
Yeah. And I got a message from one of the founding board members. Well, one of the founding rescues.
Members, yeah.
Okay.
That told me basically to do better and how I was wrong in calling out the cat rescue.
See, and that's not cool.
And at that moment I was going through a lot. So I didn't even respond back to it. And I did later. I responded back and I was kind and I showed more grace than she deserved, but I was kind and I responded back and explained the situation. And after I had explained the situation, she was more understanding to, what I was going through. But if you're going to be on a board of that magnitude, it was infuriating when I saw that specific rescue was a founding member of that board.
Yeah, and I think that again, the whole basis around it, and that's why you got involved in the beginning, was to be this place of where we could set standards, like where the general public would be able to be wow, that rescue I can confidently say is blah blah blah. But now, it's just a membership and people pay into it, and we all have had issues with one or more of the people that are now running it. So therefore, I don't think that it can be unbiased.
Yeah,
and it has done exactly what I said it would do. The way it is it has set a divide in the community where it's you're not going to get collaboration anymore. You're not going to get people going and asking questions or mentorship, because now there's this group of people where we have all these questions, and instead of, and again, I respect the hell out of all of those women. I've never they've done amazing work in the rescue community, but I think the questions that are being asked are very valid questions. One of my biggest issues was that cat rescues weren't included, and I'm getting backlash saying, well, where were the cat rescues when we tried to start it, but I'm I don't even remember anybody asking cat rescues, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't, and when I was what about rescues that rescue cats and dogs? And they said, well, it'll just be the dog portion that you're supported in. And I'm this doesn't make sense.
What's weird to me too is that I can't be in an association with different rescues whose ethics I don't agree with.
Yeah.
So how can I be a part of this group, which I understand what you guys are trying to do. It's not that I don't have respect for these women. I know that they've all done great things, but there's rescues in there that are considered ethical that I wouldn't give a hamster to.
Yeah. And I think if you're going to do something, I don't know why it had to be all of a sudden rushed. I think if you're going to do
the thing too, I feel like it was rushed a little bit.
Yeah, it was all of a sudden it was just
boom.
It was boom or happening.
Yeah.
I don't think in order to do something right, I think there should have been more thought into it. And again, do I have the answers? I don't.
And the argument back to this is, we've been doing this for we've been putting this together for 3 years. This is years of work and all this behind the scenes stuff that's been going on. And now is the time that we've chosen to put this forward. And all of these concerns and questions are valid and should, if you have nothing to hide, and this is a great opportunity for us all to come together and have a regulatory body that is going to help all of us help dogs.
Yeah.
Help animals, which is the goal. You're telling me is the overarching goal.
Yeah.
Why is it that nobody can answer very innocent,
basic
questions about what the function of this thing will be when they're asked? And then when they are directly asked, they aren't just not answering the question. There was one instance where somebody from this organization was tagged and I think so-and-so can answer your questions.
And nothing.
I'm sure that they will
and they
left and do that.
Yeah,
they saw that. They saw that. They saw themselves tagged in that and then chose to exit the conversation, the group.
See, and
so
that's misleading.
That
right?
to me is why that you are giving me something to be confused and concerned about if you can't just very
Well, and like
simply
if
answer
you
the
guys are
simple
putting all the
questions.
rules together, why can't you answer the questions?
But there are rescues that are now part of this association that we know are unethical.
Yeah.
They and do not follow their standards, that are not registered as anything.
Yeah.
They aren't a charity. They aren't a business.
Yeah.
They aren't not for profit.
Yeah.
Their registration has expired. But if you're doing all of this vetting,
Yeah.
how did you make it through?
Yeah.
There are rescues that have really poor protocols. It's a numbers game for them right now. They need to just get as many rescues in. I just want to say, because I've received a lot of messages from people saying, like, are you joining?
Yes.
And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't think rescues can mandate, govern, dictate,
Yeah.
have anything to do as a higher up than another rescue.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
I will not be part of it.
Yeah.
I want the rescue community to know there are lots of us that are not joining.
Yeah.
And though the association is saying, you to adopters, and their public stance is, by adopting from one of our members, that's the better choice. Because if they're not a member, they're not ethical, they're not moral, and that's wrong.
There's
just honestly
those rescues in there that have their charity status, that have their not-for-profit status, and they're shit. They're garbage. So you can fall and hide behind your title, but you're still garbage.
No, we're not.
You know?
This organization is not solving the problems that everybody was in agreement. We need something to solve these problems.
Yeah,
but like
something.
this isn't doing that. And I think that the reaction to the feedback has been angry, or like very like
the rescues
we
too
don't
that are
you're
opposed
grateful
have
that
been
we've done
around
this work,
for a
and that's
long
not right.
Yeah, no,
and have
I feel
built
like
up
that
their
too.
reputation and who have done right by their dogs.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do I have to belong into a group of people who are going to tell people whether I'm good enough or not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm good enough because I made myself good enough,
Yeah.
because I worked hard to be good enough.
And that's the other thing, is I think that like like all of the best intentions there, because I think I've had interactions with all of the or like most of the organizations in there that I can think of off the top of my head, who like you've answered questions for me, you've helped me here, like we've done an event here, we've gone north and rescued dogs together here. Like there are people who have absolutely helped myself, each other, like groups that won't join that organization. My question is, why is it not, like if the sole purpose of this is going to be mentorship, kumbaya, let's get together, pool resources, pool experience, all of that,
I'm going to do that anyway.
that's happening organically
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
If you have lasted any number of years in rescue to be participating in these conversations, you have these the next forward is how
mentor your people,
but you have organically sourced and made your like, I align with these people, and these people rescue the same as me, and that's valuable to my experience. So I don't need to join a club to put a logo on my
And they've now
Instagram page,
brought,
right?
like I've said, that you need like at length people. So they've now brought at arm's length people who are just rescue people. It's like a transport company, and I love them, and I value everything they do, but they're friends with everybody.
Exactly.
It's a food bank thing for rescues who is not definitely at arm's length.
Yeah.
Larissa is also, she has a pet store, but she ran Team Dog Rescue, and she sat in our initial. I mean, she's if anything the closest thing to at arm's length, because she's no longer in rescue.
Yeah.
But she is definitely friends with everybody loves Larissa.
Yeah.
She's a really solid human being. So there's some hope with her, but she's not at arm's length.
Right.
You need at arm's length people that are not friends with everybody in the rescue community.
I must say, though, like, I have known Lori from Critter Cabs for many years. And as much as she
Love her.
is involved with those people and friends with them, Lori is one of the most down-to-earth, rational thinking people that I have ever met.
But she's not at arm's length.
No.
She's not, because she is still very deep in the rescue community and has, her own people that she won't transport for valid reasons.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
There's always
But I do feel like if you would
determination
to her for an opinion or for something, I think that she would just give you her honest opinion.
I do,
I
but
don't
I
know
also
that
think
she
it's
would
going to
pick
cause
favorites.
but I also think it's going to cause
a rift.
a rift, right? Because now those same people that she's saying no to or whatever are maybe part of this
organization.
Well, that's
and
where it gets
like,
tricky for me. It's like, how do we know, like, because I've looked at the list of people on there and I'm like, you know, or I've even gotten calls. Hey, so-and-so wants to join the association. What's your opinion?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not even in the association.
Yeah.
So I'm good enough to call and get a reference from,
oh, it's fun.
but I'm not in the association.
Yeah.
So I think the takeaway from it is kudos to them.
Yeah.
Do you.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of rescues, Mattie's place included, that will not be joining the association.
Why we're not?
But we're ethical. We are
Responsible.
We are responsible. We run a good rescue, and there's a large group of people. And don't feel that you have to join the association, because there's a large group of really super ethical, responsible rescues that are absolutely not joining. You are not alone.
Yeah.
And we will be just fine without being part of the club.
Yeah.
And they're going to spin it as, you know, you must adopt from our club. It's not, that's not factual.
Your
It's not
people who
factual.
have been with you and who have followed you and your previous adopters, your foster families, those people are going to be with you no matter what.
Yeah.
If you keep operating the way you're operating, doing things the right way, being transparent, being honest, you're not going to lose anything.
Yeah.
No.
And if someone thinks a group of women running an association is more valid, their opinions are more valid than firsthand what you're seeing, then that's fine. Go adopt through somebody else. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I think, too, one of the biggest takeaways is that this is still needs to be continued talking about, because what that association is trying to accomplish still needs to get done, and it's not going to get done through them, right? Like Alberta has something like similar,
Yeah.
but they have included all animals, like even wildlife, right? So it's possible. You just, and again, like, why, instead of rushing to do this, why not like reach out to somebody on those, like in that province, right? To say like, hey, how did you like start this?
Yeah.
You know, what did you do? Like, what can you offer Ontario? Like, so we can get on that track or whatever. But they rushed, and
here they are.
Yeah, they did rush.
caused a
Why was
huge
it rushed?
divide. And everybody like on that thread, like commented like, how is it gonna like throw a divide if you follow these ethics and whatever? And I'm like, you can see on this thread, it's already
done it.
It's already done it.
And now they want to start another page that we already have one of.
Another
What is
group
it?
chat. Yeah.
We already have one of those.
That-
Why don't
we
we
not
get another one?
It's like, how many pages do you want me to belong to?
Yeah.
Like I got enough going on in my life. I don't want to.
I don't need a
And the irony is that
Okay,
this one, where the conversation is happening about this association, was started because the last discussion group kept booting people out of it, because every time that someone made comments about anybody operating horrifically, you're a bully.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm a minion. So
Yeah.
she's a bully, I'm a minion.
All right, so I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Gosh, we could be here for hours more. So we'll do this again really soon. We're gonna keep doing the podcast. We're gonna have different people on. I hope that you guys come back. There's so many hot topics in rescue, and it's just time that we talk about it.
And like, this is just the bottom.
Yeah,
little
there's
stuff.
just so much. There's so much.
honest layer. Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
thanks
I
for having us.
appreciate it.
Neat.
Do you guys have any last words for the public that you want to put out there? You've got
Stop
1
supporting
minute.
backyard breeders.
Yeah, I guess that would just be my thing. It's just, you know, research your rescues.
Yeah.
You know, follow them, ask questions.
Yeah.
If they can't give you answers, then find somebody else that will.
Yeah.
You know, just make sure that.
Don't be afraid.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting what you need, then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
Hillary?
yeah, that's all I would have to say.
Any last? Oh. Isabel?
Adopt, don't shop.
Yeah. Or if you're going to shop, make sure it's from our
Who's the guy who
really.
Who was the guy who signed off the game show with and spay and neuter your pets?
Bob Barker.
There.
Help control the pet population.
Yeah.
The fact that we're still saying that out in 2026, because when did he start that? Like
I know.
18?
Yeah, that's sad.
40?
Depressing.
oh my god.
And big thanks to producer Dean for letting us
Producer
use
Dean.
his
Thank
living
you.
room.
Thank
And we'll be back.
Maybe we'll bring
Again.
dogs next time.